If we want to end on time, we're going to have to quit doing questions now and start with the closing remarks. Each of you has 2 minutes, and we're starting with Charles and working our way down and finishing with Marlene. Okay? Yeah, keep the mic. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, thank you. It's been a real pleasure being here tonight and addressing the residents of PVE and possibly Mary Les, if there are any members of Mary Les here. So, in short, the business of the PVHA should be conducted with long-range strategic planning, and it should be in a transparent manner. So the policies should be developed and implemented in an open, fair, and collaborative manner. So by that I mean we should work together with all parties involved, including the city. So one of the things that I'd like to see in the future is that the PVHA work more closely with the city to implement some of these policies so they're consistent rather than overlapping or incongruous. I mentioned 3 goals. Unify the community to address the future problems. I mentioned how I'm going to do that. Provide more clarity in the CCRs. I think we can, as a PVHA, we can reduce conflict between neighbors by if we were to create and interpret the CCRs so that it's more clear to all members of the association. And thirdly, we just talked about financial health. I think it's important to achieve financial health. I've mentioned some of the ways to do it. So in short, my extensive experience in working with nonprofit organizations, government entities at all levels, as well as commercial entities, I think will allow me to help the association in achieving these goals. So thank you for coming tonight. If you would like to get additional information on me, please visit my website at voteforcharlestang.com, or I'll be out there passing out printouts of the website. Thank you.
All right, Reed.
Thank you for attending tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight on some very important issues with the PVHA. Most importantly, this may be one of the most important elections coming up in the history of the PVHA. The reason is that there hasn't been a valid election in a decade because of this requirement established nearly a century ago requiring that more than 50% of all owners in PV and Mira Leste vote. We've discussed this issue, but what we haven't discussed is that if we don't use the 35% quorum, which we have an opportunity to use in this election, that next year that quorum goes up to 50%. And it's so tough to even get 35% this year that trying to do 50% in the future, it may be many years before we actually have another election that's really valid. I mean, so this is a critical year. We have to really get a quorum this year. So far, we've had 13, after 2 mailings, we've had 1,336 votes. A couple hundred of these, there's been a problem with people signing the ballots. We're trying to resolve that problem, but that's another issue. But still, we need several hundred more votes to be received before January 14th, 2020. We have a 3rd mailing coming out. So please, if you haven't voted, or if you, with your friends, maybe when you have discussions, please encourage them to vote. We need enough people so that we can really have an election and make a difference so that we don't have this problem that we've had in the past with the board where we have had difficulties getting people off of the board, where they've made bad decisions, as we've discussed. So please vote, and if you haven't yet voted, please, I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you. John.
Yes, thank you very much for coming and for your attention. And I agree with Reed. This is a special election. We've never had the opportunity to affect that. we haven't really talked about the reason why the board can't change the quorum unilaterally, because it's in the bylaws, and it takes as hard as it to get to a 50% vote, it takes a 2/3 vote to change anything in the bylaws. I would actually love to see us take the bylaws and rewrite the whole bylaws and then do the hard work to get 2/3 of the people to approve it, because right now the bylaws are a little stale because they were written at the time when the PVHA did all the city roles, and when the city was created in 1940 and took on a lot of the streets and maintenance and those kinds of things and the governance roles, they're still left in the PVHA bylaws. So it would be nice to clean that up. I think it's really important theme here to defend the CCNRs, to work closely with the city. I think some of that's starting with new people like Michael on the city side, and Dick and Marlene on the Homes Association. They're starting to have the conversations. When we were having our settlement negotiations on the Parkland suit, I was absolutely astonished when the mayor of Palos Verdes Estates came into the room and the president of the Homes Association came in the room, and they introduced each other to each other because they hadn't met. We were not working very well together, and so we need to kind of work consistently. Encourage you all to become informed. In addition to listening tonight, the pvrrg.com website has written answers by all of us to a series of questions and other information. This video will be posted there as well. And then the ROBES website, the PV.GoodGov, has additional information there that might be helpful, including a discussion of many of the issues that we've talked about tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Dick?
Well, thank you all for coming, and thanks again to the League of Women Voters. I want to say that I've enjoyed the few months that I've been on the board. I am proud that I was able that I did vote no on the view resolution. I'm sorry that it passed, but I'm glad that it was a split vote, which I don't think is too much in the history of the PVHA. And this is an important election. And one thing to keep in mind as we talk about the PVHA and its problems and what it's done in the past is that if you went to the November 2018 PVHA board meeting, there were 4 members. One had been on the board over 20 years. One just resigned this summer after 18 years. I think another about 9 or 10, and the third about 5. If you come to the meeting in February, regardless of how this election turns out, the most person with seniority will be Marlene, if she's on, with 1 year. So it's going to be a new board, new people, and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you. Gain?
Yes, thank everyone for coming, and again, thank the League of Women Voters for coming, organizing it, and hosting it. And I'd like to say that I would like everyone's support for this. I think I could bring my energy, tenacity, and experience to the table as a director, one of the 5 directors of the PVHA. And would like to say that my 3 goals would be to really enforce the original 1923 CCNRs. I think there's a lot of good meat in there, and we really could go back to that and stop drifting away from what was originally great ideas. And when you bought your home here, that's what you thought you bought. So I don't think we should engage in bait and switch. I would also, my second goal would be fiscal responsibility, and my third goal is to protect property values. I think when we don't enforce the rules, we lose property values. So again, thank you for coming, and I would thank you for my support ahead of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Marlene?
Okay, I want to thank the League of Women Voters. You're doing a fabulous job here. It's been a pleasurable evening. And I want to thank the residents in the audience that came tonight, and also those that will be watching on the video later. So what I want to tell everyone is I want everybody to talk to 2 people and make sure that they vote. It's really important to return those ballots, no matter who you support or don't support. Let's get that in there. And of course, the Homes Association is supporting the 35% quorum change. So that's number one on the list. In addition to that, I think that no matter which way the elections go, I think we'll end up with a really good diversified board. And I think it's great that we have people with different kinds of skills to be able to contribute to the overall process. CC&Rs are a priority. I guess what I bring to the table is information on the day-to-day workings of the Homes Association. Having been a submitting professional for 35 years, I've been on the other side of the counter, I've been on people's properties, I've shepherded homeowners through various processes, and I think it's the day-to-day stuff that all of you out there are interested in. And then, of course, being in landscape, my other priority is to make sure that our parklands are protected, and I'd like to really get on track with the Olmsted thing and get that information out to the community so that everybody understands what a unique place we have here and our history and how wonderful it is to live in Palos Verdes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this concludes our candidate forum for directors of the PVHA. I want to, on behalf of the League of Women Voters, Palos Verdes Peninsula, I want to thank the City of PV Estates for letting us have this event here. And I want to thank all the candidates for coming, participating, all your good answers. I want to thank the audience for coming, and let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. This concludes our forum.